in this module, we're going to talk about the theme of accomplishment in behavioral interviews. First, I want you to think about two things. Number one, you want to be highlighting accomplishments that are going to be meaningful for the organization and the job that you're applying to. So ideally, the interviewer sees how these accomplishments would be benefits to them. And number two, you want to frame up why you are proud of these accomplishments. What do you value in these accomplishments? Is it that you value accomplishments related to growing revenue, accomplishments related to solving complex problems, or maybe accomplishments around enabling other people? So how might this question be asked? Well, they might say, tell me about a significant accomplishment. Or they might say, tell me about one of your greatest accomplishments. And they might add one of two variants on top. They might specifically say, tell me about a professional accomplishment. And they might also specifically say, tell me about an accomplishment you are proud of. And regardless of how the question is framed, you want to tie it back to the STAR framework. So let's first talk about the A in STAR, actions. Make sure that the actions you outline tie to the type of things you're going to be doing in this job, so that the interviewer clearly connects the dots. And secondly, the R in the STAR framework. Don't just leave the end of the story with an impact that says, and we delivered the project on time, or we accomplished our objective. Go deeper and explain to the interviewer what excites you about that accomplishment. Why was it meaningful to you? And tell them why you are proud of it, whether they asked you or whether they didn't ask you. And now let's get a little deeper on the actions. And when you describe the actions, think about infusing these two variables. Number one, talk about the actions where you had to interact with other stakeholders. Maybe people across a variety of disciplines. Maybe you're interacting with product, with engineering, with finance, with marketing. And while you are the hero in this play and you're the lead actor, it's important they understand how you work in a team. And the best accomplishments tend to happen when you're operating in a team environment. So show your interaction and your engagement level with other stakeholders. The second type of action you should highlight is problem solving. And you want to go very deep on this. For example, maybe you're solving a new problem. Or maybe you're solving a problem where you don't have enough people to tackle it, or there's not enough time. Or maybe you're solving a problem that has tons of challenges, and you want to make sure they understand the actions you undertook in overcoming these challenges. Let's get deep on the type of results you want to highlight. Number one, make sure that you articulate the breadth of results. It's not just about achieving this discrete objective, but it could also be about how others were impacted, how the business was impacted, and you might also frame up the near-term success as well as the long-term success. The second part, which goes back to something we talked about earlier, is make sure you are expressing why this result is meaningful to you. And this might be the most important part about results. Because many candidates will talk about results around revenue increasing or a new product coming to market. But what you're really trying to do to differentiate yourself is tell them about your personal value set. What are the accomplishments you value and why do you value them? Let's talk through an example. I might kick it off by saying, I'm going to tell you about a time I was an operations analyst at Amazon, and I was specifically working on consumer electronics in the small business division. And what I saw that was happening on the platform was small businesses were gradually leaving the Amazon platform, and it was because they were having excessive returns on very low margin products, and small businesses could not deal with the repercussions of having low working capital and having to process returns. I spearheaded an initiative to do a deep data dive on the products that were being affected, the consumer segments that were being impacted, and started doing the root cause analysis to figure out what was the reason behind these returns. Number 2, I partnered with the consumer insights team to get access to a broader set of data and to figure out what was going on in other parts of the business outside of small business and outside of consumer products. And then number 3, I took some of my hypotheses to the actual small business partners, and I started building a relationship with them and asking them for their insights and sharing with them the insights we had uncovered. What this led to was recommending to the product team to design a new experience, a new workflow for buying electronic products from small businesses. And ultimately, the results that came out of this were a few. Number 1, small businesses started coming back onto the Amazon platform. Number 2, Amazon revenue grew. But more important and more fulfilling for me was the fact that I built a strong relationship with these SMBs, and I was able to play a key role in enabling their success. And that is what I find most fulfilling about this accomplishment. And now let's talk through 3 guiding principles for accomplishment questions in behavioral interviews. Number 1, make sure the story is not just about you. It's important that you reflect on how you engage with other stakeholders and drive impact for them. Number 2, it's important that you pick an accomplishment that you are personally passionate about. Because if you're excited about that accomplishment, your enthusiasm and your energy level will be higher in the interview, and you'll be more confident when talking about that accomplishment. And number 3, make sure you pick an accomplishment that connects with the job in some way. Now, often people end up picking a personal accomplishment, and that's perfectly fine, but you do have to connect it to the job in some way. And the way to do that is either A, talk about the actions that you took that are relevant to this job, or B, talk about why you're proud of this accomplishment, and that pride should generally apply to the type of work you're going to be doing at this job.